pool there?
Looking. Yes. Okay. Apologize. Okay, I'm going to launch that poll right now. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like it's stable. Everybody has voted. So it's 24 plus 1 for me is 25 yay, 0 nay, and 2 abstain.
Okay, thank you. Chancellor Nan, before Chancellor Nan speak, I would like to make sure I have a roll call, please.
Yep.
Attendance, thank you.
Yes.
Number 3, approve of the minutes.
I move to approve minutes.
Anyone second?
I second it.
Discussion, correction, comments?
Yes, I would like to make one small, rather vain correction. That in item K, I don't know, I don't really need to have my first. In item K of the minutes, under new business, I would appreciate at least an initial, if not my first name.
Okay, thank you, Professor Brown. Any other correction and comments? We saw hands, Joe, Professor Joe Shapiro, you have comments, questions or correction?
I'm sorry, that was an old hand for the first vote that I didn't take down. I apologize.
No problem. So if there is no more correction or comments or question or discussion, we're going to vote to approve on the minute. So Mike, are you ready?
Yes. So a vote to approve the minutes with the minor revision from Dr. Brown and launching the poll. Okay. Okay, looks good. Looks like it's over. So that's 28 plus myself is 29 yay and 2 abstain.
Okay. Thank you. Now, next one, I would like to invite Chancellor Nan to make a few minutes remarks, and also because of time, there might be only 2 questions for him. Chancellor Nan.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. It's good to see everybody and hope your semester is going well. Just have a few updates, and let me start by thanking Dr. Lee. For those that don't know, we have been on a pretty extensive journey meeting with several of our faculty inside of their academic departments. We're making the rounds. Myself, Dr. Lee has been with me at each of those stops, and we've had some exciting meetings and been able to meet some folks that we have typically had to be on Zoom with. So that's been helpful. Dr. Shaw has also been with us, and those meetings will continue. So you're probably on some list, but we've been with a lot of groups already. And also the provost has been with me at each of those meetings as well. So gives us a good chance. It's one of the promises I made during the listening and learning tour that I would follow it up with personal visits to each of these areas. And so if we've not been to see you yet, I promise we're coming. But just trying to make the rounds. But thanks again to Dr. Lee and Dr. Shaw, and they get a chance to hear about some things that are happening in different areas as well. So really, really good stuff there. I also want to thank our student leaders. I know we have our USG president, Isaiah, is on with us today. He does a fantastic job in advocating for our students. I know that Grace is on here as well. And then I don't know if Shaylee is here or not, but really hats off to each of Shaylee's our student trustee, but hats off to each of our folks that are here, our students that are helping lead the way in those areas. A quick update tomorrow as it relates to our first really university-wide professional development day. Just to give you a sense of what that is, a lot of our recruitment and retention coordinators, our advisors, our deans, faculty members, I think Dr. Lee will be there and others. I have a few folks from my lead SIUC group that will be there. Joe, I think you're going to be involved in that as well. That is really our first attempt at a working meeting to really start to put a lot of the measures and targets in place on the first pillar, which is the student success and engagement pillar in the Imagine SIU strategic plan. So those groups that will be there tomorrow are working on action-oriented steps to really start thinking about what our capacity will be to get to another stage or another level when it comes to enrollment, recruitment, retention, persistence, graduation rates. They're going to have a pretty full day of activities that require them to walk away from that meeting with hopefully a little bit of direction in terms of what we are actually going to try and accomplish within our strategic plan. So excited about that. And I know we'll have a lot of, I think we have 155 or so that's already RSVP'd. So it's going to be a very large group, but again, we'll break out and do some work there. Just to give you a quick snapshot on enrollment, our applications are up by 38% as we look to fall of 2022. That's a big increase in terms of students who are interested in the institution for the fall of 2022. A lot of our recruitment efforts for the Southern Illinois Swarm in this region to recruit locally seem to be paying off. We're hearing more and more from our stakeholders out in the community that the events that we're putting on are really capturing the attention of our potential students and hopefully dispelling some of the myths that we're not interested in recruiting at home. So those numbers are increasing. We're really excited about that. We've got a long way to go, but as you know, we're already looking at that and trying to determine what that new class will look like coming in. So a lot of work that's being done there, a lot of partnerships that are being formed as well. So we're excited about that. Some of the things that are happening on the testing front, there'll be a slight change on the testing on Mondays. We won't have testing heading into the break on Mondays. We'll get some information out on that. For those that are still going through the weekly testing protocol, we'll get you some information. Mondays seem to be a little slower, but the compliance is going very well. And I want to thank everyone here again for either being vaccinated or going through the testing protocol, but it's really paying off. And our numbers, if you look at the dashboard, are really low as compared to what they were even about a month and a half ago. And so that's a very promising number. But a lot of work still going into that with Redditus as our testing entity. And then we obviously have the vaccination clinic that's there as well. So lots of activity, lots of things that are happening. One thing that you have probably heard about, and I really want to give some kudos, our students are always right there with us in terms of helping us and everything that we are trying to do to support not only our students, but our faculty and our staff. As you know, we had another tragic event that happened over the weekend in Houston at the Travis Scott Astro World Festival. One of our students was tragically died in that event. And last night we had a vigil for those that were out there, candlelight vigil, for for those that were out there. It was beautifully done and gave our students a chance, unfortunately, again, to come together for such a tragic situation. I sent out a memo, probably about an hour or so ago that because of health and because of a pause that I think we all need, and appreciate Isaiah and his advocacy for this, and Dr. Lee, his support for this. We're going to cancel classes on Friday. You've not been able to see that note. We put it out again via email not too long ago, but it's a good time for us to pause on Friday, and for those that want to take the time and just reflect on some things, take it away from campus, be with family and friends. We'll cancel classes so our students will be able to do that. And then I know our faculty, even you shoulder a lot of this stress that's out there on our students, because they tend to come to you before they go to sometimes even their own families. So, you need a break too, and everybody needs a break. We'll have the campus offices will remain open. But for the employees that are here working, we will have a full day of activities that they can engage in, that they can unwind a little bit as well. But we're calling Friday a health day off, and apologize for the late maybe notice there, but it's Tuesday. We've got a few days ahead of it, but hope that doesn't interrupt anyone. But I think it's just needed right now as we try and get through and get to the end of the semester. And so again, I want to applaud our student leaders and our faculty leaders, but I think it's something that's going to really hopefully help re-energize our students and faculty as we kind of get to the end of the semester. And boy, has it been a semester when you think about that. So at any rate, I didn't want to take up too much time. I know you've got a long agenda, Dr. Lee, but I'd be glad to stop there and answer any questions.
Derek Harden, I'm a student. Put it.
Okay, we have time for two quick questions for Chancellor Nam. Please raise up your hands electronically. Okay, Dr. Michael Eggles.
Hi, Chancellor Lane. I just have one quick question. Do you have any idea how much of the increase in applications is due to the form that the students can fill out? I assume that started this year, where they can fill out one application form for all Illinois universities.
Yeah, the Common App, great question, Mike. The Common App is a big piece to that. And that's why we were advocating for it, because, we wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity there to be able to have our university there where students could apply and it would come right to us. So that's contributing to it. We look forward to really converting those applications. A lot of our discussion, Mike, was about converting the application. And so that's something that we're definitely going to be focused on. It's great to have applications up, and that sounds good. But I know Wendell, his team, and others, we're looking to convert.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. One more question, please.
Dr. Lee?
Yeah, hey, Amber.
Amber, yeah.
Oh, okay. So I really appreciate you giving the students some time off. We've had a lot of things happening with the pandemic. It's been really rough. One of the things that's been brought to my attention, and I'm kind of concerned, is that the CAPS service is actually overloaded, and there is a waiting list for students to get in. Now, I believe they're trying to hire someone. Is this an additional person, or is this to replace someone who's left? I'm really concerned. Now, I realize this is something that you're not directly responsible for, either you or Dr. Komaraju, but this does concern me, and obviously some of these other folks too.
Yeah, so I dug into that, and what I'm hearing back from our CAPS folks is that there are a few things that we probably need to take advantage of. So let me kind of walk from A to Z on this one. We had a waiting list of about 30 some odd students that were on there, the information that was out there is that students could not go over and see a counselor. And so as I talked to Dr. Clark, she said that's incorrect. So students can always go over and see a counselor. That is, they do have the counselors to be able to do that. What happens is sometimes if students are needing more than one counseling appointment, or if there are more needs that are there, then those students sometimes are in a waiting list, sort of a waiting pattern. But what we found out is we have an agreement with a few third-party counseling agencies that I've asked our folks to go after ASAP. So we have Centerstone, there's several agencies here, and we actually have an MOU with a few of them here locally. So what you'll find now is that they will take anyone that's on that waiting list and see those students, and some of the changes that we've been making. In fact, today, you'll see an email that will come from Dr. Clark that will clear up exactly what services we do provide and what students can receive. So it's clear. I think it was a little confusing in terms of, you know, who was on a waiting list and who was able to see students. You know, my concern was when we end for the break, what happens to students then? Because I know we don't have staff or counselors here. So we're gonna have to rely on third-party counselors that are in our community, in our counties, and there are a lot of them out there. We just have to make sure that our students, if we can't service them here, that we're going to have to make the appropriate referral to those other agencies that can help students, even in the summertime. You know, it's another time when it gets a little quiet here, but you know, I'm confident after seeing the data now and seeing the potential partnerships, and you'll see this email come out here probably in the next hour while you're in this meeting from Dr. Clark. And it's in addition to a survey that the USG wanted us to do, and Dr. Clark is going to do that as well. But it's going to clear up, I think, a lot of things going forward. But we are going to be a little more aggressive with reaching third-party counselor professionals who can actually help us with the counseling needs that may be out there for students. So Amber, a very timely question. Thank you for bringing that up, because we've been looking at that for the last week about what is it, what do we do, how do we partner with others to help us with this, and try and go forward and make sure we're servicing students. We also talk about the employee relations piece as well, for those employees that may need counseling as well. We've got a link in the memo I sent earlier about the employee wellness piece as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Chancellor Nan. I know you have another commitment you have to run. We only have about 7 or 8 minutes left. So I would, if it's okay, and I would like to invite Provost Kumarajo to make a few comments or remarks, and only 1 or 2 questions, please. Provost Kumarajo.
Yeah. Thank you, President Lee. A few updates in terms of the spring registration that is underway. So we are doing our very best, and we really request your help with this. As instructors, you see students in your classrooms, so if you can encourage students to register before they go away for the break, and to encourage students, we are offering a drawing every week, and we had 1 drawing last week, 1 drawing this week, and so there is a student winner each week for a $500 bookstore scholarship for books, and this is for undergraduate and graduate students. And in addition, we're also having a friendly inter-college competition. And if you're curious who the front runner is, right now it's the College of Health and Human Sciences that has the most number of students registered. During last week and this week, so far, we have registered about 50% of our students from fall to spring, and we are hoping to get 90% registered before they leave right after finals week. So we really, don't think we can achieve our goal without your help. So we request you to encourage your students and also to get the word out. We are also reaching out to the students in many different ways through text messages, and advisors are reaching out to them. And reminding them that they need to register for classes. And also in SalukiNet, only for students who have not registered, they'll experience a pop-up message encouraging them saying, hey, you know, we heard you haven't registered, please register. Your name will be put in a drawing and so on. So anything that you can do to help us with that would be very, very helpful. Particularly because our spring semester will start on the 9th of January, which comes kind of really quick after the new year. And there's not like a whole lot of time to get students to register. So that's the spring registration. I just wanted to add a couple of thoughts to the professional development workshop that we are doing tomorrow. This is our first time doing it, so it will not be perfect, but we're trying very hard to do as much of the work as possible. But it's just that, like the beginning of work that will be continuing. So it's not like all of the work will be done tomorrow, but we're sort of going to be setting targets and identifying action steps to retain our best practices for all that we did to bring the fall 21 class. So what are the best practices we can continue for fall 22? And also identify areas that we struggled and how we can make improvements to them. So kind of that's the sort of the purpose of the workshop. And also, in addition to just looking at recruitment, we're also going to discuss retention of our students from fall to fall. What has been helpful? What are some areas that we need to work on? And then the last piece is our graduation rate. So we're going to look at our 4-year and 6-year graduation rates and look at specific cohorts. Those will be graduating in the spring as a 4th year, and those will be graduating in the spring as a 6th year. What could we do to help that particular cohort in addition to all of the continuing students? So there are many such layers to the work that we'll be doing tomorrow, but this is just the beginning. And we plan for it to be an annual workshop, so we continue to learn from our own experiences as we go along. And the attendees would include the deans, school directors, advisors, R&Rs, admission staff, and other stakeholders that are part of the recruitment and retention efforts. We will have a student panel during the lunchtime. So these are freshmen from different parts of the campus who will share with us their journey from when they first indicated interest in SIU and then what made them, the experiences they had to register. And then what has helped them in the transition, what has been difficult, what advice they have for us as we look at future cohorts of students, and what are the best ways of staying connected with them. So that is the regarding the professional development workshop. And then a few other updates just about the recruitment efforts that we have. We had an open house this past Saturday. And we had 192 attendees, and compared to 171 last year and 300 the year before. In addition to the open houses, we have also brought students in from various high schools in Chicago. So we had 106 come in a few weeks ago, and then this weekend we have about 60. And then we are also bringing in another group of students from East St. Louis, Cahokia, and Madison. So all of that is happening in addition to the open houses. And we also had SIU Day, where we had about 428 students from 11 high schools come to SIU. So we'll continue that also into the coming year, coming semester. And then just in terms of enrollment data for fall 2022, relative to last year at this time, our application, as the Chancellor indicated, our applications are up 38%, our admissions are up 88.6%. So we've already admitted about 3,315 students. And this year, our focus is really going to be on yield. So even tomorrow at the workshop, we're going to talk about how to increase our yield. So our yield was about 21% for fall 2021. But if you go back to fall 2010, our yield was about 29 to 30%. So it's just a reminder that we can do this. We can increase our yield. And what could we do to increase the yield of these students? In terms of on-campus transfers, our applications are up about 1.5%. Our admissions are down 9.8%, but this is a little bit better than last week when it was in double digits. So I'm hoping that we will gain some ground in the coming weeks on this. Our off-campus transfers, applications are up 58%, and our admissions are up 48%. So this is really kind of like an area of growth, is our online and off-campus applications. In terms of graduate students, our applications are up 13.8% and our admissions are up 9.4%. 1%. So in general, I think we are on a positive trajectory, but a lot of it is actually bringing them home. So as we get closer, we will continue our efforts. And in terms of the question that came up about the common application, yes, those numbers could be higher because of the common application, but I also see there's an opportunity to now reach out to students who may not have looked at us before.
All right, thank you very much, Provost Kumarajo. And because of time, we're behind the schedule, and only one quick question for her, and we need to get done with 2 minutes. Please raise our hands electronically so that I can see it. If there is no question, we're going to move on. So any electronic hand? All right, thank you very much, both Provost Kumarajo and Chancellor Nam. And next one on our item, the next item on our agenda is the President report. Good afternoon, everyone. As you know, we send off this October issue of Faculty Update. In addition, I have several items to report to you. First of all, we hosted 3 meetings to interview 3 Chief Information Officer candidates in October by working with several other constituencies. I wish to thank Dr. Bethany Rader for covering the interview for the 3rd candidate while I was busy. Second, on October 14th, I had a meeting with Chancellor Lan, and we discussed and followed up with several faculty-related matters, including faculty hires, faculty support or bus person, students enrollment, SIUC strategic planning, and the ad hoc committee for institutional ranking and reputation. Number 3 or 3rd, on October 22nd, I attended a meeting held by the Council of Illinois Faculty Senate. At the meeting, we discussed a variety of different issues, such as shared governance, transparencies, faculty senate independence and integrity, COVID-19 safety, and a few other issues from different universities and institutions in the state of Illinois. Number 4 or 4th, I have accompanied the Chancellor and the Provost to meet and greet with faculty, staff, and students, actually at the College of Liberal Arts and the School of Law on November 3rd, and School of Education on November 4th, and the College of Agriculture, Life, and Physical Sciences on November 5th, and the College of Arts and Media on November 8th, yesterday. I wish to express my appreciation to Professor Elaine Jogovsky, who covered the visit for me to the graduate school while I had a dental appointment yesterday. As a note, on November 10th, as the Provost Kumarajo said, that means tomorrow there will be a workshop for professional development on students, recruitment, and retention. I will be one of the 3 volunteers with Professor Elaine Jogovsky and Professor Amy Bro to represent Faculty Senate. And also finally, not the least, finally, and in the past 2 weeks, I have received numerous dozens of emails from our undergraduate students and undergraduate student organization with regard to their resolution, which you have seen. And also in the past few days, I received many emails from SIU faculty members with regard to the draft letter to the Department of Justice on China initiative. Any comments, questions? Thank you. Okay, if there's no question, I'm going to move on to number 6. Endorsement of the USG resolution on pass, no pass. We have 10 minutes. First of all, I would like to open the debate discussion. So, and we have a student leader, I think Isaiah, are you here, Isaiah?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
All right. Hello. I
Yeah,
am
go ahead.
Isaiah. All right. Thank you. Hello. I'm Isaiah Overton, a senior in electrical and computer engineering, and I specialize in biomedical engineering. I'm also the current undergraduate student government president. Today, you'll have the opportunity to vote on USG Senate Resolution 22-01 to implement the pass, no pass grading system. This resolution has received support from the greater campus community as a whole and official endorsements from the Graduate Professional Student Council, the Graduate Council, the Dean of Students, and the USG Senate. This has been, like the past 3 semesters, a grueling semester for instructors, students, and administration. We've had to bear the tragedy of losing 4 students and watch as gun violence continues to directly affect our students. We are still transitioning to fully reopen our campus after 2.5 semesters. And things have continued to change, and we cannot act as if things are normal. Depression, anxiety, and other mental illnesses are plaguing our country, especially in young people. And our campus is not equipped to support all of our students, as we've heard earlier in this meeting. We have dropped the ball when starting this semester without considering the greater challenges that returning would bring. As students, we are aware of the foundation that is created with your GPA during the first 2 semesters. They set the tone, or it sets the tone for the rest of your college career. But we also understand that it takes double the time to fix your GPA than it does to hurt your GPA. There are many students who are barely passing right now, and they're really struggling mentally. This hurts in the classroom, this hurts outside of the classroom. They're struggling financially. Now we have to take a stand and start combating these issues. We have to give our students grace and support. We don't want our institution to be on the wrong side of history. This is imperative and incredible chance to show our country who we are as Salukis. And it's a chance to show our community and our students that we genuinely care about them.
Thank you, Isaiah. Any other comments, question for them?
I would like to add on to what Isaiah is talking about. Hello, my name is Shaylee Clinton. I am currently serving as the student trustee. For those who are viewing on YouTube, you don't actually get to see what's going on in the comments. So just for reference, I made a comment earlier that said, I think it's important to note that students on the wait list were not made aware of the referrals out and that third-party counselors can cause disruption, though we are trying to utilize MOUs. And make sure they're safe. So there is a lot of communication that happens between third-party vendors and this or third-party counselors and the counselors that are on campus. So if we have a student that goes off campus, they're suicidal, our services don't exactly know that, and we can't utilize Saluki Cares to make sure that those students are seeing someone that is taking care of their needs. But of course, we want to do everything that we can for students. So if third-party vendors is what we can utilize right now, and that's the best for our students, we definitely want to make sure we're utilizing that. Also, I talked a little bit about my personal experience. So for reference, I was put into the eating disorder outpatient program back in the spring semester, very early on. And I was seeing psychiatry, psychology. I was in that program, and I was also seeing several other doctors. So I had a lot going on. And I was put on an extended care program with psychology. This summer, I moved away to Colorado, so I wasn't able to receive any treatment. I wasn't able to receive my normal medication or do any counseling because I was out of state. So students that go home this fall and they're living out of state, they aren't able to continue any kind of telehealth through SIU, unfortunately, because our counselors are not licensed to work outside of the state of Illinois. So this fall, I was put on an 80-person wait list. I was in care last semester, as I said earlier, but that doesn't translate to this semester. So I have to redo my intake, my health profile, everything. And I still have to wait for the time that I can actually go into care, even though my files are still there and my current or my past counselor is still there. So it's taking a lot of time. But what I think is very important is what the students are saying. So if you don't know what Yik Yak is, it is a forum that reaches a 5-mile radius of your current location, and people can post anonymously. It's very popular on college campuses. And within the past 24 hours, students have said these things, and I'm going to say them verbatim. I think it's important to understand how our students are feeling. The mental health of students here is so horrible, and the amount of fucks the professors don't give is saddening. This semester is traumatic, for real. I wish SIU actually cared about mental health. It's crazy that 3 people have died, now 4, and we're supposed to just keep acting and be productive and act like nothing happened. Tired of hearing people from SIU die. SIU does not care about its students. Does SIU have a curse or something? It looks like we're losing a Saluki every month. So many people I know of are struggling with their health. This whole campus is having a mental health crisis. I can't describe how disgusted I am that I found out through email the school just sent 1 more student and recent graduate has passed. Having 1 mental health day doesn't make up for it. So I don't want to take up the time that we have. I want everyone to be able to discuss. I want you to know that's what students are feeling. Whenever you're anonymous, you get really bold and brazen, and you have the opportunity to say exactly what you feel. And that was my personal experience I wanted to share with all of you. And I'm sure there are many students right now that are on the YouTube chat that are saying their experiences. So if everybody on the Zoom link can go onto YouTube and look at what they're saying, I think it would help get a more diverse perspective of what's happening on our campuses with our students and our faculty to really understand the crisis that we are facing right now with mental and physical health. Thank you.
Shayla,
Thank
so
you,
this is
Shirley.
specific to Carbondale. Are we not hearing anything out of Edwardsville?
Could you, Amber, could you, no, thank you. Thank you, Shirley. And we have hands here. If you want to speak, please raise your hands electronically. And Professor Elizabeth Danana.
Thank you. I was actually, I think this is still relevant. I was going to respond to Isaiah's comments, which I thought were fabulous. And I understand the pass no pass idea, and I think it's great. We've been doing it for a couple of semesters now. I just want to make sure that we think about and talk about the side effects of doing this, which is 1, when do we stop? Because trauma, it's been a hell of a year and a half, and it's not going to end real soon. So we need a point at which we stop doing this. And the other thing that I think needs to be seriously considered is when we do the pass no pass, students with D's get passes, and we have no option about that, and it has to be that way. And they're getting passed along without learning the material they need for the next set of courses. And this can really hurt students, and I don't think they realize how much danger this puts them in. They look like they've passed their courses, but they haven't learned the information, and now they will suffer even more. So I think I love the idea of it. I think we are in a ridiculous and tragic time, but we want to be very careful we don't compound the problem.
Thank you, Professor Danana. And the next one is Dan. Then after that, then Isaiah. Dan, please. Diana.
Yes, I just first want to say thank you so much to Isaiah, to Shaylee, to all those who've worked on this resolution. I consider this a living document, so I know that you all have the resolution in front of you, but this resolution has already created action. So for example, the day that we're going to have off on Friday is already happening. So that was one of those things that were noted within therefore be it resolved. We are putting out that survey through CAPS, so that portion is moving forward. And so there are already effective things that are looking and considering especially the mental health of our students. Now, as far as the pass no pass, this is a conversation that came up in our Graduate Professional Student Council, and there were certainly concerns. And so our request was a modification. I'm not too sure what which copy of the resolution you have received. But we do, think it's very important that, as in the spring, that students seek advisement and counseling before making that decision of pass, no pass. So that is somewhat of a requirement and expectation to know the impact that it would have on them, especially if they're under scholarship or seeking to further their academic careers through graduate programs. And so that certainly has been articulated within the resolution, within the revisions of the resolution. And so that is actually part 2, to provide adequate academic advising and as much information as possible to ensure that students fully understand how pass, no pass grade might impact them as students, e.g. scholarship requirements and advanced degree requirements. So that is certainly taken into consideration. And like I said, this is a living document, and those modifications to enforce those requirements of advisement can certainly take place. But I do feel that this is a very interesting time for our particular campus. You have a lot of first year and second year students where this is literally their first time going to face-to-face classes. They were juniors, seniors in high school, and this is really their first time participating truly in college. And so that transition, that learning curve has been a little lost. So I think having that grace and empathy for these students particularly is important, especially since they are facing the anxieties of a pandemic. They are facing the anxieties of losing a loved one to COVID or to violence or to, a crowd getting out of control at a concert. These are certainly unique experiences to this particular semester. So I do hope that the Faculty Senate does take strong consideration in passing this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. And next one is Isaiah, and then after him, then we have Sarah and Naldis.
Yeah,
Isaiah?
I'm going to be quick so that we have more time for others to take the floor. But thank you for bringing up that point about that we don't want to compound this issue. And that's why this resolution calls for a lot more than the pass, no pass. I think as a university, we need to start realizing that student affairs is academic affairs. When our students are struggling mentally, they're going to be struggling academically. And I think that's where we dropped the ball at. I think the past 3 semesters, we only did pass, no pass, and we expected that to help students. It did help students, but we needed more support too. But I will leave it there and I'll pass that off to the next person.
Thank you. Next one is Farah Naldis.
Yes, hi, I'm from we are now the School of Math and Statistical Sciences. And I realize many disciplines are different from math, but this pass, no pass has actually been detrimental to our students. In spring 2020, I actually pulled all the D students that changed their grades to P. Many did not move on to the next class. Many did repeat at the suggestion of their advisors. That's what they were told to retake the class, and some did. And so a bulk of students didn't take a math class the following semester, but 15, against their advisors' suggestion, took the next class that required a C or better. They changed their D to a P and took the next class anyway. Of those 16, 1 earned a C, and the rest either dropped, earned Ds or Fs. So, we initially had suggested, well, what if we, they can change from a D to a P, but the C prerequisite has to hold. And a student that earns a D in Calculus 1, has no chance in Calculus 2, which is even much harder than Calculus 1. So we found, I didn't follow them after that because I didn't realize that I would have looked at the data from the last semester as well, but I only learned about this meeting today and didn't get a chance to get that together. But and then these students then have to take math again, and it puts them further behind than if they went back and retook the class that they didn't earn a C or better in. So I realize mental health, we're in a bad place right now, but we need to hold that C or better prerequisite for students to move on. It has not been a good thing for our students in particular.
Thank you, Farah. And Isaiah, is your hand still on? You want to address this or you?
No, my hand was not up. I can take that back down though.
Okay. Any other comments or question or debate? Okay. Tamara, Miss Tamara Walkman.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. I just wanted to offer some points to be considered as this very important issue is on the table here. As registrar, with responsibility for protecting the integrity of the credential, I want to advise some caution in the matter. The continuation of the pass, no pass grade option for a fourth semester yields the possibility of 2 years of non-graded work on the transcript. The students who continue to receive no pass grades, although they remain eligible to enroll, they're not making sufficient degree progress. And finally, 87% of our undergraduate students receive financial aid, which requires that the student complete 67% of that for which they're registered, with a minimum 2.0 GPA and an overall limit of 150% in hours. Now, typically that's 180 hours in order to maintain their aid. The Financial Aid Office reports that 342 students who are on continual SAP, that's Satisfactory Academic Progress, they will be reviewed at the end of the term, fall 21. There is a significant impact to this decision for the credential and for the student and their ability to maintain the aid necessary to complete their educational goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Walkman. Professor Lin Chong Wang, 1 minute, please.
Yes, I do have also a question about like a pass, no pass policy in other institutions. I think I heard from Provost Camaraggio, like other institutions in Illinois or places, they stopped pass, no pass policy like last semester, right? They only offered, most of them only offered 1 semester. Is that correct?
Provost Camaraggio.
Yes, that is accurate. I had talked to the provost of all the Illinois State Universities last week, and that's what they indicated is that majority of them had only done it for spring 2020.
Thank you. Any other question from students, faculty? Okay, Mike, Professor Mike Echols.
I saw Lizette on here earlier. I think hopefully she still is. And I just have a quick question about if she knows if this would impact our accreditation through the Higher Learning Commission.
No, it will not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Shani?
Yes. Sorry, I am at home sick right now, which is incredibly ironic to the situation. But I just wanted to say that if we pass this, this is called the pass, no pass option. Students don't have to use this. And it's okay if some students can't use this within their programs, but we have to recognize that there are students there whose grades depend on their financial aid. And if because of what's happening with the pandemic, with finances, with mental health, we need to consider that there's a reason they're not passing. It could be because of other factors that we cannot take into consideration. And so we should have that option for them this one last time in this semester for a pass or no pass, so they can keep their scholarships. They don't have to drop out of college and they can continue to get their degree. We need to realize this isn't a normal time. And while this is going to be the 4th consecutive semester, This is the 4th consecutive semester that we are in a global pandemic. And there are a lot of people who are out of jobs, having mental health crisis. We don't have the mental health availability to provide for them in this area. There are so many factors that we need to consider. I think we need to remember, no matter what, this is an option, and students have the option to use this or to not use this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I know it's time is up. I know Professor Danana want to speak because of time. And unless something totally new, or we would like to move on.
Could I just respond to Shaylee just a moment? Shaylee, a lack of grade as represented by a no pass, which produces 0 in terms of GPA, is non-compliant in financial aid. It certainly does preserve the academic record in terms of freezing the GPA or protecting that overall GPA for dropping below that term, but it does not protect the financial aid status of the student.
Okay, Shani, you want to respond?
All I can say is that I am speaking on behalf of the students and what they have told me, but I do know for sure that scholarships that are outside the university, some of them are dependent on GPA, and GPA is determined by their grades. So if they do take a pass or no pass, then their GPA isn't affected and they can still keep those scholarships that are outside the SIU system. But thank you for saying that. All I know right now is my experience and those from other people.
Thank you. Professor Danana, quick comments, then we are going to have a motion to vote.
Okay, thank you. I was just going to say much of what Tamara just said, that this isn't going to help financial aid if you have too many no passes. Also, if you're not passing, a pass, no pass is a no pass, not a pass. So that's important to take into consideration. But I think it is so important. I agree with the students that these are unprecedented times. We need some unprecedented responses. And I just hope that we can come up with a way to pass this with some caveats, like if it's a class that requires a C or better, you don't do it. You don't get that. Or you can take a pass, but you have to retake the class or something like that, so that what happened to those students who went on and failed does not happen again.
Well, thank you very much for the comments. Jenny, one final comments, then we're going to have a motion to vote.
Very quickly, just as a reminder, my understanding, Faculty Senate is an advisory body. We don't have any power here. So this is not a vote to decide this. This is a vote just to see a group of faculty volunteers and you know how they feel about it. It's up to the administration to make any of these decisions.
Thank you very much. And Marcus, quick comments. I think time is off.
Well, yeah, just a procedural. I've heard some suggestions for changes, but there has been nothing specifically put forth as a change. The resolution is as the resolution reads at this point in time, unless there are some formal changes put forth for changes. So I just wanted to make a procedural comment there.
Thank you. Diana, your hand is on. And
I am not a member of this Senate, but I was thinking the same thing, that it sounds like, and I agree with the suggestion that if it is a requirement that to move on as a prerequisite, you must have a C or above, that continue to be withheld. And so, like I said, this is a living document, and I'm sure that Isaiah and members of USG would be happy to make that change if a motion were to come on the floor, wink, wink.
Okay, thank you.
I'm willing to make a motion for a friendly amendment to add that any course that has to be passed for a C or better in any curriculum, that a student will have to retake the course if they don't get a C or better and take a P.
Okay, Marcus has a motion here.
Second. I second it.
Okay, so Professor Elizabeth Danana second. So any discussion, question about this motion before? So this is something new, and it's not on our electronic poll. Any question, whatever? before we vote on Marcus' motion? Okay, we need to, only faculty senator, they're going to vote on the.
Yeah. Before we vote, Ken, there's 3 people with hands raised. Can you please lower those so that the vote does not include those 3?
Yeah. Okay, Dan, Oshani, yeah. Tamara, could you?
I raised my hand deliberately because I want to comment on the change that is being made to the recommendation to exclude those courses for which there is a prerequisite requirement. I just want to throw out there that at this point in time, I'm struggling to know how we would facilitate that in an automated world. You're looking at a manual grading filter process by excluding prerequisite courses.
Okay. Now, Marcus, what's your, I mean, you have this motion and Professor Danana a second. So
I understand what Tamara's saying, and I know it's a difficult process. I know the students are supposed to go through the advisor, and I don't know if there's another way that maybe the change cannot be made unless it's made by the advisor through Tamara's office. Would help? I don't know, Tamara. There's got to be. I mean, if we're going to do this, I agree. We got to make it where it's something that can be done, because if it's going to, require too much effort, then it's probably not going to happen. If we're change themselves.
Right.
Okay.
Well, over the last 3 semesters, we're talking about 4,000 changes.
Could you raise up
4,000
your hand? Electronic hand, please, if you want to speak. Okay. Professor Nana, quick comments, and then we ask people to faculty the vote, or the motion will die on the floor.
Can I please clarify that my understanding of the motion may have been slightly different from what Marcus was understanding? I thought we were saying that you could still do pass-fail for any class, but that if it's a class where you're required to get a C or better, that you then must retake it if you didn't earn the C.
I thought that if I misstated, that's what I was leaning toward there.
Okay.
So I think, Tamara, I think that would help with it, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so the motion, the motion is on the floor, and
So we agree on we're voting on the concept, but we don't have any language written out.
no, I think Marcus had an amendment to the motion. Marcus, am I right?
The friendly amendment that I put forward was.
Could you put it, type it in the chat, then we're on the same page, and then Liz is, I think she second. Make sure we are clear before we vote on something.
I think Tamara said that there's not an automatic way for them to realize that the P or the NP, what grade it was prior to that grade. They don't have a mechanism in place so that students with a P can automatically register for the class that there was a C or better, because there's no record of the original grade. I think that was talked about in previous semesters.
We have a mechanism that records the previous grade. What we don't have is an automated process that can filter whether the pass that the student has elected is associated with a prerequisite course.
Okay, now, Marcus, your motion is not there. I think the time goes very fast. And are you going to, you're going to withdraw your motion, move forward, or we're going to?
It's in the chat box. It takes a few minutes to type.
We didn't say it in the chat box.
Marcus, you sent it to me.
Okay. Oh, now Giselle, any course which requires a C or better may utilize P or MP, but will have to retake the course if the earned grade is C- or less. So is this what you want to second, Professor Danana?
It is exactly what I want to second if this is physically possible. And Tamara's comment.
Well, I think nothing said physical possible. You second. Mike, you're only one comment, then we need to have a vote on this amendment to the motion. Then we have to vote for the general resolution.
It's not clear to me how we could tell if they had a C or better if they got a pass fail on that score. There's no way to communicate that they had a D when they got that pass. So there's no way to do this.
Okay, thank you. I think that's good. I think that's enough discussion. It took almost 25 minutes, and we're going to vote on the amendment. So any if we do not have it electronically, we do it manually. Only faculty senator, please raise up your hands electronically.
Tamara Workman's hand is raised. Is that a comment because she's not ineligible? Okay, there we go. Okay, you can see in the chat Marcus's language, and please, all eligible voters, let the voting commence. Raise your hand in support. We have 9 yays. Okay. Now, please, okay, I see 10 now. 10 yays. Please lower your hand, and now, once that gets to 0, we'll vote for nay. If you're a nay vote, please raise your hand.
Okay.
10 nays. And then for abstain, please everyone lower your hands, please. And then we'll do an abstain. Okay. And just a second.
3, yeah.
4 abstain.
Yeah. Well, now the amendment at this point didn't carry through. Is this correct? Okay,
that's correct.
Now we're going to vote on the actual resolution from undergraduate students. Okay, we closed all debate, discussion, and please turn the electronic poll on.
Okay, I'm launching the poll. Support of the USG resolution.
I didn't see the electronic vote. Did I miss something, Matt?
It's launched and there's no more activity on it, so I'm going to end it unless you find it and can vote quickly.
It's not allowing me to vote.
It's not allowing you to vote?
Yeah, it's not showing up for me on my screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
the same with mine too.
Okay, well, I'll write yours down. I'm going to end the poll then because it's stabilized. So 18, that includes me for yay.
No, I didn't receive anything.
Well, I'll just tally yours in now with Dr. Joukowsky. Or if you just want to private message me, if you don't want to publicly state.
Okay.
So that's where we stand. And then Dr. Lee and Dr. Jakowski are, I'm waiting on theirs probably through the chat, direct message. Oops, did I share? I'm sorry.
So I cannot click. I do not know what's going on.
Well, the poll is closed.
Yeah.
At this point, but if you didn't vote and you want to be added to this list that you're looking at, just send me a message privately in the chat and I'll add you to what your vote is.
Okay.
Okay. Question was, do proxies vote? Yes, you do vote.
I voted.
I haven't gotten a chat message from you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I sent to Joe.
Yeah, you sent
It's forward to him. Thank you. Thank you. Next one, we're going to, okay, what's the outcome?
Okay. Still haven't gotten Dr. Lee. Joe, are you sending that to me? Okay. I think we're done.
Okay, thank you.
19 yay, 15 nay, 3 abstain.
Is this accurate in terms of qualified votes?
I think so. I just added what I've been sent to the results of people who were able to vote electronically here.
Okay, good enough. So the yay got it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means the faculty senate authorized me to endorse and sign the resolution. Okay, thank you very much for all the students and faculty and other guests for being here. Next one, we're going to move to the reports.
Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Could I just briefly say, I'm one of those that voted no, and I want to just make sure the students understand, and no doesn't mean it was this was the only option. I think there are a lot of faculty who feel like there needs to be a recognition that it's a time of reckoning, that we've lost students, that it is tremendously difficult. Your families are having difficulty. And I just want you, student leaders, to also brainstorm other ways all of us can support you. And I teach mental health law. I was the legal director of a mental health center. There's so much that could be done here beyond what was in that resolution that I personally felt would have had a bigger impact and would have honored the fact that we're in a moment in history right now, which we should. We should all be rising up together right now and coming closer, not dividing in any way. And I just hope that you continue to come to the Faculty Senate and offer even more suggestions. And one suggestion that wasn't on the resolution that directly addressed one of the problems is a lack of funding for our Student Counseling Center. that is something that we could all discuss, and I am on the budget committee. So this is not, and as I mentioned, we're just an advisory body. This vote today really has, it has some emphasis, but we are not the deciders on any of these issues today. So please, students, think very thoughtfully that this is just one of many steps in terms of how to support each other and how we can too.
Thank you, Jenny. Well said. We are just part of the process. Even though most of us voted for it, this doesn't mean that the chancellor and the provost were final to prove this. Again, they may not. We're just part of the process. Thank you very much, and thank you all for being here. Now we are going to move to item number 7, executive committee report. In fact, I said it a few minutes, half an hour ago. I do not want to repeat. And next one, election committee, Bethany.
Hi, yeah, just a quick update on the GRB elections. We are still progressing with that. We should be sending out our first calls for nominations this week, in which we will be targeting those units on the campus that are not currently represented on the JRB, and then if need be, opening those elections up to the general university. So those nominations should go out this week, in which case we will have names or nominees to be accepted by the Committee on Committees and the Executive Committee, and then in the December Faculty Senate, we will then vote on those members. And that is my update.
Thank you. Next one, undergraduate education policy committee. We have co-chair Joe and Amy.
Okay, so we have one piece of agenda of unfinished business. You might remember that back in the September meeting, we were all set to debate a resolution for support of an RME to rename the School of Journalism, the School of Journalism and Advertising. At that September meeting, upon finding further information that there were some concerns, particularly from the School of Management Marketing about the resolution, Amy and I both used our authority as co-chair to temporarily table our discussion. To allow time for the School of Journalism and the School of Management Marketing to have consultative meetings. It's now 2 months later. They've had several meetings. We believe it's in the best interest to have a full, robust discussion here at the Faculty Senate today about this resolution. I present it in that spirit. I do not present it with a partisan lean of either direction, but more so that the faculty weigh the competing arguments you have received in your packet this month. One-page summaries or two-page summaries, I think, in some cases, of arguments from both the School of Management and Marketing and the School of Journalism. These are obviously different perspectives. And I just open it up to the floor of the Faculty Senate.
Thank you. Any question, comments from all the Faculty Senate or guests?
Do we have guests from either or both of the schools that may want to give a statement?
I saw a hand here, Matt.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate to do this, but the vote on the USG, Marcus brought up that there were 37 votes. In my roll call, which I'm pretty sure is accurate, I counted 32 senators here.
I have 32 also here.
Okay, so I'm not sure. There have been times when not everybody appears to vote and the total vote count is less than the number of senators here, but I've never had it exceed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure really what to do about that. I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm not sure if people voted who were ineligible. I think I've received in the comments one vote that I verified, and I don't think it was eligible, and I didn't include that in my count of 19 yay, 15 nay, and 3 abstain. So,
Matt, I'm going to suggest something from my many, many decades ago of Robert's Rules of Order and knowledge from high school days when I was on Model Congress. The only real solution is to do a recorded vote of faculty senators and call the roll.
Uh,
It's going to take us time, but if you're really concerned about the vote not being legitimate, then that's the only proper way to proceed.
Well, thank you very much for the comments. I really want to focus on what we are talking now. If this is the issue and we're going to revisit later on, ultimately, we're just part of the advisement. It doesn't matter. Okay, and we have Jen.
Thank you, President Lee. I have some students here. Are they permitted to speak? Because the adults have contributed to the comments, and I'm wondering if it's okay for some of our advertising students to be able to weigh in on this?
Yes, maybe one student as a representative to speak for 1 or 2 minutes.
One student, okay. Bridget, is there somebody who you would like to represent?
Michaelin, would you like to take the floor? Where is she? She's a little nervous. You're very intimidating. Where is she? Michaelin?
She went off camera.
Okay. If
How
not,
about-
She goes.
There she is.
okay.
Go ahead, Michaelin.
Hi, I'm so sorry. A little technical
Okay, so
difficulties.
the motion, the motion is on the floor and.
So we agree on we're voting on the concept.
I think someone's YouTube is on. If you could close down your YouTube while your mic is on.
No, I think Marcus, I then. Okay, go ahead, please.
Go ahead, Michaelin. Unmute yourself.
Sorry. So many technical difficulties going on here. Just one moment.
We cannot hear you.
Right, you're muted. Okay, go.
I just wanted to keep it short and sweet. So with my experience, my personal experience, and then talking with other students in advertising, we care so much about advertising and what we do here and our accomplishments. And we think that it's our right to have advertising in the name of the school. And if you care about the success of advertising students and the work we do here, I think that we would really appreciate it if you vote to keep advertising in the name and to put it in the name.
Thank you. Any other question, comments on this resolution? School of Education, we have a new Yumanka. Anita, you have hands on?
Thank you. Yes, I'm representing the rebuttal from the School of Management and Marketing. I represent the marketing unit that has raised the objection of the renaming of the School of Journalism to add advertising onto it. For us in marketing, we are closely tied to advertising. Every component of what we do in each of our classes is directly tied to advertising. We teach advertising courses in the College of Business in the marketing unit. We teach integrated marketing courses as well in the marketing unit, and we have always done that since our very existence. And so we believe that adding the name of advertising to the School of Journalism will completely blur the lines of who we are, our identity at the institution, but also our identity as a discipline of marketing that is completely attached to advertising. Students will have a level of confusion of where they should be going to get advertising courses because they can actually get those courses as well in the College of Business. And so for these reasons and some other reasons that I can't keep hashing out, we are in full objection to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, we have heard the debate and question from both sides. I would like to move on to vote. Bridget, you have quick comments before we have a motion to vote?
I do. I really do. I'm going to speak on the behalf of the students and the alumni that have come through our ad program in the last few years. We are related to marketing, but we are a different discipline. And for whatever reasons, we are in the School of Journalism. We are not journalists. We are creatives and we are business strategists. We combine creativity and business strategy to create advertising. And that's what advertising is. I don't believe, and I know that the School of Marketing and Management does not focus on how to be creative, how to craft a creative message for a business. Our students are now placing at New York City ad agencies. I just got a call yesterday from one of our students who was an intern and is now being hired on at BBDO, which is one of the largest advertising agencies in the world. We have other students that are art directors and digital specialists in Chicago. And I'm sorry if I'm a little emotional, but Jacob, who died over the weekend, was one of our students, and he was a graphic designer. And I know he would not have gotten the experience he got in the School of Business. And you cover something different. Your students launch in a different way. You go into sales and marketing departments of corporations. You do not launch students into the major ad agencies. You are not a member of the American Advertising Federation as we are. Plus, I've started a professional chapter of which provides mentors to our students. You have not won consistently over the last 4 years the National Student Advertising Competition, which these students have. And last year they placed first in our district, and that hasn't happened in 30 years in this school. So by not allowing them an identity, you're not allowing them a future. And if that's what marketing and the School of Business has, if that's their intent, then shame on you, because there's enough collaboration and there's enough common ground for us to share this experience. And I have many of your marketing students in my classes. We teach a lot of advertising classes. And I, for one, want this to go through so we can share, so we can collaborate more, not to divide us. And
Thank you.
That's all. That's what I've got. Thank you very much for the time.
Sure. Jay, quick comments, last one.
Hi, I just want to strongly support the addition of the modifier advertising to suggest the name of the School of Journalism would be Journalism and Advertising, because there can be modifiers and marketing has one as well. And there can be collaboration between these programs. And I think there's some historical precedent here with the School of Journalism, as evidenced by the paperwork and justifications that have been forwarded. So I just wanted to pull in some support there for journalism, because I think this is an important modifier, especially with the addition of all the electronic work they've been doing. It's very integrated journalism with advertising at this point on the DE's side. So thank you.
Thank you. I think time is up. We're going to have a motion to vote on the resolution, which was tabled. Anyone to move it?
I call the question.
Okay,
Is there
so,
a second?
okay, no more discussion. And in order to be accurate, we need to do electronically. And Mike and Josh, can you count this? Make sure the faculty senate, we should be held accountable. Would that be okay rather than electronic poll?
Yep, I'm going to launch an electronic poll. The eligible voters are the elected
I cannot
senators.
even receive it. That's why, in a way, I was concerned. So for this resolution, that means we would like to do it. I mean, electronically, we can see it. Who raise the hands?
So you're saying I shouldn't launch the poll right now?
Well, I cannot receive it in a few, which, I mean,
Well, we
you
don't
can
know
do
yet.
it.
We
You
don't
can
know
do it.
yet. The last one you didn't for some reason, but you have before, right?
Okay, so you launch it. Okay, go ahead.
So elected senators and those in proxy role are eligible voters. Launching the poll.
So we just clear. So we can see the poll, but I cannot click.
Yeah, you're
Dr.
having trouble with this one too, you're saying?
Yes.
Dr. Lee, you probably just private message Matt your vote.
Yeah, okay. So 23 plus 1 for me, which is 24 yay, 4 nay, 2 abstain.
Okay, thank you. Motion was carried over. Okay, thank you. Next one. Budget Committee, any reports? Marcus and Jenny?
We have no report.
Thank you. Jenny, any?
No, not at this time.
Thank you. Committee on Committee, Yinan and Sung-Hee.
I think Sung-Hee is going to report.
Okay. Hello, everyone. The Committee on Committees received 2 requests this past 2 months. First, we are requested to nominate 2 faculty senate to attend recruitment and retention workshop to be held on November 10th. This was requested by Provost Kumaraju. So we recommended to following to represent the 3 faculty senate for the workshop: Professor Amy Bro, Professor Eaton Lee, and Professor Elaine Zhukovsky. Second, at the last October meeting, faculty senate approved 6 university-wide faculty members on Chancellor's Ad Committee on Enrollment and Academic Excellence. After that, the Committee on Committees received another request for faculty senate executive members to serve on Chancellor's Ad Committees. So we would like to recommend the 3 faculty senate executive council representatives to serve on this committee. The names are Professor Joseph Schramek, Professor Eaton Lee, Professor Elaine Zhukovsky. Now, we would like to request faculty senate to approve these 3 representatives on the Chancellor's Ad Committee. So Dr. Lee, since you are involved in nomination, do you want me to make a motion to approve?
Okay, so yes.
Okay, so I move to motion to request faculty senate to approve these 3 representatives to serve on Chancellor's Ad Committee.
Seconded.
Okay, let's vote.
So we're going to vote.
Okay. 23 yay, 0 nay, 2 abstain.
Thank you. The next committee is the Faculty Status and Welfare Committee, Scott and Jennifer Sherry, Professor Scott Corporacho.
Just a couple of things. One of them being the Faculty Status and Welfare has been discussing the issues that were discussed in the USG resolution. So I'm not going to rehash that here, but we are continuing to have discussions about these same issues with Faculty Status and Welfare, and will continue to do so. The other primary issue that we addressed in the last month has been an issue that is listed on the agenda today under new business. Professor Ed Benyus from Music is here to discuss prosecution of a faculty member here at SIU. This is for discussion today. This is still under advisement with Faculty Status and Welfare, and we'll have something for the full Senate next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Scott Comparado. And anything to add, Professor Sherry? I know Jennifer Sherry, I think she has a proxy. That's fine.
She is not here.
Yeah, thank you. Governance Committee, Jay, and also Ni Chang.
Good afternoon. We don't have a report at this time.
Okay, thank you. Faculty Advisory Council to IPHE and Li Chang. Professor Li Chang.
Yeah, the Faculty Advisor Council held a meeting on October 15th. So in addition to some discussions of reports by members of Faculty Advisor Council, particularly the presentations given by Interim Chancellor Karen Whitney and from University of Illinois Springfield. They were particularly talking about the effort they made to to the challenges due to this pandemic. They're talking about the presentation. The title of their presentation is "The Good, the Bad, the Impossible: Pandemic Pivot to UIS." They were talking about various things. One thing I draw from the presentation is they put a lot of effort or continue to utilize their online teaching expertise so that they have a kind of a smooth transition to meet the educational effort, that part. But they do not talk extensively on how they will handling of mental health of student and faculty staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Li Chang Wang. And Graduate Council, Professor Junhua Li.
Dr. Lee, I don't want to interrupt, but we have to resolve the earlier issue. We cannot pass a motion out of this group and maintain our credibility with 5 extra votes. We have to do something about that before we finish today.
Yes, we will save time and let us finish, the regular reports. Then we come to all the business. We're going to put it there. Would that be okay?
Should I go? Okay. Thank you. So, Graduate Council met on November 4th. The research spotlight had 2 presenters, a faculty member from the School of Music in Music Theory and Composition, presenting Tricentric Space, Music for Percussion and Interactive Electronics, and a senior from the School of Law presenting on Sundown in Small Towns, a Hometown Perspective. And an RMA is coming soon, but not at this point. And next meeting will be on December 4th at 8 a.m. via Zoom. And that's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we have the last one. That's Vice Chancellor for Research, Dr. Gary Kinsel. A few minutes.
Sure. Just a few announcements here. First off, I wanted to let everyone know that the foundation grant, I just completed the revisions of the RFP and sent it back to the foundation. So the announcement of that award opportunity should be coming out within about a week. And the deadline for submission of the foundation grants will be January 14th. The foundation has committed $75,000 to support those awards this year. So if you've gotten those in the past or are interested in this particular round, please consider submitting to that program. The REACH Awards, just like in the past, the RFP for that will come out in the first week of December, and the deadline for submission of the REACH applications will be January the 28th. So you'll have, those students will have about 2 months to put that together. My office will be reaching out to faculty and looking for folks to help us review all those proposals. So you can expect a call at some point, perhaps. The Research and Creative Activity Forum is scheduled for next April the 14th. That's just something to put on your list, so you can keep that in mind. On the good news front, we did have the inspection of our laboratory animal program last Thursday, and we received a complete passing grade. There were no mandatory changes placed on our institution. There were only 5 recommended changes, and of those 5, really most of them were fairly easy to accomplish, and there were 2, however, that involved basically construction and changes to, renovation to rooms and things of that nature. So we'll be looking to the university to try to find ways to fund some of those upgrades to the facilities. So, but the good news for everyone who does any kind of research that involves animals is we passed without any kind of probationary comments this time around. We were on probation last time for about a year. This year we've gotten off the probation, and it was actually a very well received inspection. They were very pleased with what we were doing this year. We had a couple of faculty get some SIU system awards. These are inter-system awards where the faculty have to be from at least 2 different of the 3 SIU campuses. And we had a couple of faculty who received those awards. And those were announced a little bit earlier. On our campus, it was Dr. Motashim Shamsi in the Chemical and Biomolecular Sciences Department, and Dr. Ellsworth in the Physiology program. So they were the recipients on our campus. And one other thing I'll mention, if you didn't see it, of course,
I was just going to say,
the NASA.
oh, you're leaving.
Students and
You should leave.
faculty.
Have a good day.
Here. Have I been muted the whole time? Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. I thought I clicked that off. Okay, well.
No, he just muted it because there was an override. Go ahead.
My goodness. All right, back to the beginning. The foundation grants are being, the RFP is coming out in about a week. The foundation did put, the SIU Foundation did put in $75,000. The due date for those proposals will be mid-January, January 14th. The REACH program, the RFP for those proposals comes out the first week of December, and the due date for those proposals will be the end of January, January 28th. Just so you put it on your calendar, the Research and Creative Activity Forum is scheduled for April the 14th, and we'll certainly be encouraging everyone who has research or creative activity that they would like their students to display to consider participating in that event. We haven't decided yet whether it's going to be virtual or face-to-face. I think we're targeting face-to-face in the Student Center like we have in the past. Everyone keep your fingers crossed and hope that the situation allows that to happen. So that's our plan at the moment. We did have a successful inspection of our laboratory animal program a week ago. We came out of it completely without being scathed. We had no mandatory findings. There were just 5 fairly minor recommendations, 2 of which involve some renovations to the facilities that we'll be looking for funding to try to address. We had a couple of faculty who received SIU system awards, Dr. Motashim Shamsi in the Chemical and Biomolecular Sciences program, and Dr. Buffy Ellsworth in the Physiology program. And they each had partners on other SIU campuses, either Springfield or Edwardsville. The last thing I want to mention is that you may have seen in the press here not too long ago that we had a student and some faculty receive the NASA Deep Space Food Challenge Award. It got us some press that I think was very nice, a reflection of some of the interesting things that are going on here on campus. And now I'm going to leave you with a teaser. Keep your eyes open tomorrow. There's going to be another announcement of something that I think will be very impressive. So I can't say any more. I'm under a prohibition, but just keep your eyes open tomorrow. There could be something interesting coming out. So that's all the announcements that I have, unless there's some questions.
Well, thank you very much, Gary. I know if you have a question, you can contact him individually, because I read the message from the chat box, and we need to revisit the vote. And Senator Marcus, Professor Marcus said we do not need a motion. So we need to re-vote. And a few ways to do it. When we do it electronically, raise hands electronically, then we actually count. Everybody can see it. So that's one way to do it. And I know that reckoning vote maybe as we did in half an hour ago or 1 hour ago, it didn't show the accuracy. So what's your suggestion, all the senators?
I think we should just raise our hands.
Okay.
Bar, and then we can see that by the names.
Okay.
I like the hand raise. 2, I feel a little awkward with the USG students having left at this point. They left under us one impression. if the vote turns out to be different, then that's pretty, that
good.
puts us in a bad spot. I do suspect or wonder if some of them voted, because they were, but I just don't know.
It was nobody's fault. It was a technological thing. People got a little confused. We could postpone the vote to the beginning, but then I don't think that's a good idea all along. We needed to respond quickly and tell them that we care. So
We can do it,
let's
we
just
can
do
do
it.
it by email.
I suggest we just redo the vote right now
Make that right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we all,
by a simple show of hands.
And without the polling feature, let's just use electronic raising of hands. That was perfectly okay for us last year in faculty senate to vote that way. I don't see why it's not okay now.
Okay, let's do
Well
it
said.
now. Okay. So first, if we are going to endorse the action resolution, please raise your hands physically. Would that be okay?
No,
No.
not physically, because I can't scroll through this and count. It blips and pops around too much.
Yeah.
So
So electronically, by just raise the hands in the
That's correct.
reaction.
under reactions, there's a raise hand button.
That's right.
Okay. Let's
So
do it.
So we'll
So you-
do a vote now. And we'll start with yay. If you vote yay, please raise your hand now. Okay, it appears I counted 12 yay.
I have someone voting that's not a senator. I just lowered their hand.
So okay. Okay, so if I counted 12 max, then that would make it 11 yay.
Matt,
If you are,
do it
wait a
again.
second, I have a question. If you represent, if you are proxy, can you vote?
yes,
Yes.
but only senators and proxies, nobody else, not invited guests. Should be very clear, you're only entitled to a vote if you're a senator or a proxy.
Okay, then.
So
let's
do you
try
want it done one last time?
one more time, please, for the yays.
And keep your hands up until Matt tells you to lower them.
All right, going once, going twice. I counted 10 yays. Okay,
And Matt, I have 11 because I have somebody that emailed me and they're not able to put it in the chat. They're not able to chat. So
okay. Okay, somebody has, okay, now there are no hand raised. Good. So if your vote is nay, please raise your hand now. Okay, I had 15 total nay. Okay, please lower your hands and then we'll do abstains. Once all the hands are lowered. Okay. I see 4 abstains.
Okay, so the nay have it, and we need to inform the undergraduate student organization. I cannot sign the resolution because most of you voted nay.
but please, them, we would love to entertain other ways. And we have a committee actively working on it, and all of our committees could.
And I think you need to tell them that they may have done some of the voting and that's why it got inflated.
Okay. Now we have all the business. Can we move on to the older business? Next month, we are going to meet by Zoom, December. I know Scott, you have a question? Scott, Professor Scott Chippett? Okay, so is it okay? We will continue Zoom meeting next month. Okay, now the next one, item number 9. We have Professor Piñez here. Professor Piñez.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity to address you today on a critical issue which threatens the career and liberty of one of our SIU colleagues and which endangers all of us as we strive to maintain SIU's status as a national research institution. The Justice Department's China initiative was spearheaded by the Trump administration beginning in November 2018. It was purported to counter Chinese national security threats and reinforce the former president's overall national security strategy. At the outset of the initiative, former Attorney General Jeff Sessions remarked that it served to combat economic espionage and the, quote, grave national security threat posed by geopolitical rival states' efforts to try to steal American inventions and defraud America. However, it has become apparent that the mission of this initiative is actually to accumulate prosecutions against primarily Chinese-born persons in the United States. Not only did John Demers, former Assistant Attorney General of the National Security Division, encourage all 94 United States attorneys' offices to, quote, try to do 1 to 2 of these cases per year, unquote, suggesting that the effort is driven by quota and not actual threat to the United States. But the department has expanded its prosecutions to include charges wholly unrelated to issues of national security. Specifically, the department has initiated a string of prosecutions against academics and researchers of Chinese descent for allegedly making false statements or failing to disclose connections to Chinese institutions rather than espionage, under the guise of protecting the U.S. from China's efforts to steal knowledge and intellectual property. The department has targeted professors like our beloved SIU colleague, Professor Ming-Hsin Zhao, a 30-year U.S. resident, Professor Anming Hu at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and Professor Gang Chen at MIT, all of whom have committed their professional lives to service, teaching, and scholarship at American universities and to expanding these institutions' capacities for growth and global impact. Eerily reminiscent of the incarceration of Japanese Americans in the 40s and the McCarthy-era witch hunts of the 50s that destroyed so many American lives and careers, the China Initiative fuels anti-Asian sentiments, hostility, and xenophobia. It flies in the face of the values of justice and equality that the department is called to enforce, and it threatens the livelihood of our institutions of higher education, the talented professionals we employ, the students we educate, and the communities we serve. It is especially important that we, faculty at SIU, which markets itself as a nationally recognized research institution, stand up to the government's discriminatory and unjust targeting of our Chinese American colleagues. Accordingly, I respectfully urge the Faculty Senate to join 841 colleagues from Cal Berkeley, Princeton University, Temple University, and nearly 2,000 other faculty, scholars, and administrators from 210 universities in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico in endorsing Stanford University's open letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland to end the China Initiative now. I request a Senate vote on the letter today and with a majority vote that the letter be sent with the signature of the Faculty Senate as a governing body. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Piñez, and you saw both letters. So we need to have a discussion. And any comments from our guests, our faculty senator, are appreciated. please raise your hands electronically, and we have 5 minutes for discussion, 3 to 5 minutes for discussion. Okay, so Professor Matt Randman.
Sorry, did you ask me a question?
No, Professor Rentman.
He's muted right now.
You're mute.
Mute. There we go. Sorry about that. I just wanted to say that I feel totally unprepared to offer an opinion on this topic, knowing nothing about the case. And I think it would require, I guess I'm advocating for a vote of abstention, because I know so little about it and feel that I'd have to read quite a bit before I was able to offer an opinion. So that's me.
Okay, thank you. Jenny?
It's a legal issue, and I'm, the representative from the School of Law. I would be happy to bring this information to the law school, at least to share more information on what is happening with these prosecutions and what the scope of them are, how they're being sort of circumscribed. As to an individual case, I think we've all probably wouldn't easily sign on to anything without really fully knowing. But I do think that we need to be vigilant on this issue. We're a little late to the game. There are other universities that jumped right on it that we can, as a faculty senate, try to gather as much information as possible. But this is not an issue we should bury our heads in the sand about. And it's of tremendous scope. I put a link from Science Magazine into the chat so you could see over a year ago how this was heating up. So that's my 2 cents, that the Faculty Senate should address this again in future with more information about the legal side of it.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Professor Han, you have.
Why am I not getting?
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to say that I've been following that issue for some time now, and I'm totally support of Professor Peña's effort and the letter. I also agree that maybe the Senate will need a little time to review the whole material and make a decision on this. I just want to say that both based on what I have been learned about this, I'm totally supportive of signing on the letter and joining other universities in calling to end the China Initiative by the Department of Justice.
Thank you. Final comments from Gary?
Yeah, I cannot speak to the specific case that's here on campus for, there's some issues there that I can't talk about, but I don't really think that's what this, letter is about. The letter is about the general process that's been initiated here across the country, and whether or not this is actually simply targeting of Chinese scientists for almost as a retaliatory aspect towards the country of China. In my mind, at least what I've seen, and you're welcome to read popular, the news articles and the various reports and investigations. Many of these, there are a few, of course, very high profile cases where one can point and say, yes, there was some form of espionage or knowledge, transfer, illegal knowledge transfer. But that is not a descriptor of the vast majority of the cases that I've seen. In fact, it seems very much as Dr. Bellion and the letter has sort of indicated that these investigations have gone way off track in terms of what the originally stated goal of the investigations or these prosecutions were. And I do think they represent a very significant danger to the research mission of the country and in fact of the world. if you are a scientist like myself or any other type of researcher, you know that collaboration is key to the advancement of science. And certainly I'm not here advocating for, espionage and taking of information and transferring it illegally to other countries. But the idea that, we're frightening potential collaborators and collaborations off because of an overblown perspective on this activity is very dangerous. It's very dangerous to the research mission of the country, and it's very dangerous to the future of research. So,
okay.
As a general statement, I am supportive of the letter that the Stanford University has put together.
Thank you, Gary. And because we only have 3 minutes left, I would like to have a motion to support the letter to be sent out by faculty senator. That means, okay, faculty senator support the letter or not. So we need to have a motion. Anyone to move it? The draft letter. Because of time, sorry, no more questions.
Okay, I move to vote.
On the letter.
Yes, on the
Draft
letter.
letter. Thank you. Anyone second? Okay, Dr. Han second. So we're going to vote. We had enough discussion. And Mike Kozowski, could you please, what do you prefer? You want to launch the poll or by hands?
I think hands, because we're having some problems with the poll today. It seems not
Okay.
everyone's able to select it or review it. So
Let us, we're doing to raise hands.
yes, so if you're in favor, please raise your hand now. Okay. Okay, 15, please lower your hand. There's one that came in late there. So, okay, please lower your hands. Ada, could you please lower your hand? Okay. Now for nay, if you're a nay, please raise your hand. Okay. Please lower your hand. And now finally abstains. And 6 abstain.
Well, thank you. It's almost time. And thank you very much. I think the faculty senator agreed, majority, at least 15 people agreed to support the letter, the draft letter. So it's almost time, and I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. Yeah.
Before we make that motion, may I make a request? There are a lot of comments from students who are disenfranchised after what happened because we had the voting snafu. It was not our fault, obviously, and I think we did a good job of replacing it, but I think they really need to see that addressed and not ignored. So if you could make a comment to them, I think that would be valuable.
Sure, I think very important. In fact, I just texted the re-voting results to Isaiah and at least let him know because technology problem. Thank you.
Well, and I would, if you reach out to them in a more formal way, I would emphasize that we're not the final decision maker on that.
Yes, we're going to send an email to them, obviously, more officially. Thank you.
Also, Zoom voting has been flawed. I mean, how many of us have used this in our classes over the last almost 2 years now? And to rely on that alone is problematic. If we've learned nothing today, then we probably should do hand polls for everything, even if it saves us, cost us maybe 2 extra minutes, we get an accurate vote if we're all voting publicly. And I think as a representative body, we should be voting publicly. This idea that we have secret ballots for things probably isn't the right approach.
All right, thank you very much. It's 3:01, and I would like to have a motion. Unless you are going to have a motion to extend the meeting, either way, it will be fine to me.
Move we adjourn.
Anyone second?
I'll
Okay, Han. Okay, second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.